One of the great thinkers of the Industrial Revolution was an Englishman named Charles Darwin. In 1859, he had published one of the most important books ever written, On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life, more commonly known by its shortened title, On the Origin of Species. In this book, Darwin explained the order of nature as a system in which all the many various plant and animal species struggle for survival. He did not see nature as particularly nice or kind, but as a cruel system in which species attempted to kill and dominate other species in order to secure the survival of their own kind. He wrote, "We do not see, or we forget, that the birds which are idly singing round us mostly live on insects or seeds and are thus constantly destroying life. Plants and animals are organized into groups with 7 major levels or categories: kingdom, phylum, class, order, genus, plural, genera, species. A codfish and a human belong in the same kingdom, which is animals. They also belong in the same phylum, which is vertebrates, animals with spines. But after that, they break off into completely different classes. Cod are fish and human are mammals. More specifically, humans are vertebrates of the class known as mammals and the order known as primates, which we share with monkeys and lemurs. We belong to the family Hominidae, which we share with apes and chimpanzees. Within that family, we are of the genus Homo, which are Hominidae that walk standing up on 2 feet. Several other Homo genera have all died off, and we are the only surviving species of this family, Homo sapiens. Cod, on the other hand, are fish, specifically fish with jaws, that belong to a family called Godidae. This fish family is fairly evolved, have elaborate fins, and lives on the bottom part of the ocean. They hunt voraciously, the species living directly over and beneath them, and have white flesh, greatly favored by Homo sapiens. Darwin wrote of how all species struggle for the survival of their own group. So it is not surprising that we humans have the greatest affection for organisms that are biologically close to us. Killing our own species is the worst thing we can do. Killing close relatives to our species, like monkeys, though it occurs, is revolting to most of us. We tend to care more about our own class, mammals, such as whales and seals and polar bears, than we do about fish. Is that because they are in a different class? Is that why people tend to have less sympathy for animals that are not in our phylum, like insects? Ultimately, a vegetarian is a human who rejects killing living things from his own kingdom, animals, but accepts killing from the other kingdom, plants. Darwin's great contribution was to understand that in the struggle for survival, nature puts out variations. The species that successfully adapt through the use of variation survive, and the others become extinct. Our family, Hominidae, was a very successful family because it developed numerous variations that went on to be successful genera and developed various species. The genus Homo produced one highly successful species that dominated, while the other, Homo genera, became extinct. As the millions of other species of plants and animals struggled for survival, circumstances were constantly changing. Species moved into and out of areas. There were changes in weather, but some species were eliminated and others became extremely abundant. Each shift, sometimes as minuscule as a shift in the wind, day by day, even hour by hour, changed the order of nature. These shifts continued to happen so slightly that we don't even notice. But things are changing, and over time, these changes can be enormous. As circumstances change, there are variations in species. Sometimes a change in color or a tendency to hunt in a certain way. These changes can be thought of as experiments. Some fail and disappear, and some succeed and become a completely different species. It is out of this process, known as evolution, that monkeys eventually developed into human beings. In understanding what is happening in the oceans today, it is essential to understand the Darwinian order of life. Though Darwin wrote only a little about the sea, marine life is linked in the same system as all life on Earth. All life on Earth is interconnected, and altered circumstances will change the order of life at sea, which will also change life on land. And all of this can and will have an enormous impact on our lives. It is important to understand that there are not two worlds, the worlds of human and a separate world of plants and animals. There isn't a natural world and a man-made world. We all live on the same planet and live in the same natural order. What plants and animals do alters human life, and what humans do alters an animal life. Even the smallest change can have unforeseen results that are extremely difficult to change back. I'm going to go back and read the sidebars on Charles Darwin, starting on X11. Charles Darwin, February 12, 1809 to April 19, 1882. Darwin was born coincidentally on the same day as Abraham Lincoln, another great thinker of his age. The next page. A good way to remember the 7 major categories of animals and plant classification is with this sentence. Kangaroos play cellos, orangutans fiddle, gorillas sing. And finally, xv1. Darwin's ideas were extremely controversial in 1859. Some people were upset that he did not see nature as kind. Others thought his visions of how humans evolved conflicted what was written in the Bible. They did not like the idea that he accorded no special mystery to the creation of man, that it was just another animal created by chance experimentation in nature. Nor did they want to accept the idea that natural experimentation led to the development of the species, and that they did not each appear in a separate act of creation. There are people who are still angry about Darwin because they believe his theories conflict with the Bible. But most people, whether they believe in the Bible or not, think that Darwin's explanation of natural order makes sense. For a century and a half now, scientists have been observing natural occurrence and have found that they follow the theories of Darwin.